All right, so I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm just gonna go straight into this video. And you have to understand that in this world, you cannot afford to care, because a lot of people, they want you to care. You know, they want you to care about things that don't matter. They want you to care about what kind of car they're getting when it's not your car. Why do you care about someone else's car when it's not your car? You know, or what team wins? Is it gonna be the Warriors? Is it gonna be the Lakers? Who takes the dub? Why do you care about that? You're not playing in the game. You're just watching the game. Matter of fact, you're not even watching the game. You're probably sitting on the couch right now looking at the TV and actually watching the game, right? You're not in person. You're not actually viewing it live. So that makes it even worse, right? And it's so easier said than done, because like people say, oh, just turn it off, or just turn off everything around you. We live in a world where that can't happen unless you go to a third world country where there's not much technology. You live life like a monk. It's not going to work out, because we just live in a social media world. Everything that's going on, you're going to know about it whether you like it or not. So things like what Kanye West has been saying, right? We never met Kanye West a single day in our life, but the media pushes that because they feel like that's more important, when it's not really important. A lot of things have been happening, like in Ukraine. Everyone forgot about what's happening in Ukraine. People was dying in Ukraine a few months ago, and now everybody's all of a sudden just saying, oh, they just forgot about it, right? So people are so quick to move on, and that's because of the desensitization that's been happening across the world. It's kind of like it's not like a physical change. It's more of like a spiritual change, or a change in the mind, right? That they don't have to touch us. The media, or the people that control the media, they don't have to touch us, right? They can control us using our minds, because the mind is the most powerful tool if you utilize it, right? So it's just the art of not caring is very important. Just living in the present moment, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You're not going to know what's going to happen in 20 years, right? And they put all these distractions that you cannot avoid, right? We can't avoid things that happen in the media, right? That people telling you to go vote when you don't really care about voting, but then they start threatening you, saying, oh, if you're not voting, then you don't care, or if you don't vote, then you shouldn't get laid, or if you don't vote, you shouldn't go to school. Like, they're gonna keep throwing these different scenarios, or these different reasons why you're not agreeing to what they're saying, and they're easily offended by that, right? Because generations ago, it's like we were not as sensitive to things that have been happening around us, and we were not sensitive to dark jokes, like so-called dark humor, because dark humor is basically humor that should offend you, right? It should offend you. You should be affected by that, but you should just, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, well, it's just another joke. But no, nowadays, if you say something like that, if you say something out of line, people are gonna attack you. People are gonna scream at you. They're gonna throw things at you, because they feel like you're offending them too much, right? And that's just something that you just gotta, like, it's like a mental battle with yourself, honestly. Like, I could say whatever, and you could be agreeing with me, but at the end of the day, I don't know you personally. I'm not living with you in your situation. So it's really up to you. It's really your world. You're basically the main character of everything. And that's something that it takes time. It just doesn't happen the next day. Like, oh, you wake up one day and like, oh yeah, I'm the main character of my life. I'm gonna stop all social medias. Oh, I'm not gonna talk to anybody. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is try to block out the bullshit as best as you can. Basically living your own truth. Don't let people dictate what you need to do. If you don't feel like voting, then don't vote. If you don't feel like washing your hands, don't wash your hands. At this age, you should basically know what's right and what's wrong, right? By the age of like 14, you should know everything about this world, all the good and the bad. Who's to tell you stop watching the Hub? No, keep watching the Hub. If that's something that you genuinely enjoy, Keep watching it. Why do you stop something that you like? You know, and people are like, oh, well, you got to self-improve. You got to do better than that. But a lot of people are complacent, and you got to just accept that. Like, okay, if they're complacent, then they're just not caring. You know, everything around them, they're cool with it. They're chill with it. So who are you to tell them what to do? Who are you to tell them, oh, well, you shouldn't be complacent? But that's on them because they're a grown-ass adult. That's just the harsh truth. You shouldn't try to convince anything to anybody. If someone wants to do something, you just let them be. And that's called the art of not caring. That's the art of not giving a fuck. It's basically saying, you're your own person, I'm my own person. I'll support you from a distance, but that's it. And even if you don't agree with it, that's fine. You know, let's agree to disagree. But, you know, just basically living in your own reality is very important. And living in the present moment is very important because it's like you can kind of observe your surroundings to a point where you just feel like you're doing something right. You know, you're always feeling like you're doing something right. You're not in fear of something that hasn't happened yet, if that makes sense, right? Because if you're basically doing something right now, right, and you're not worried about everything else you got to do in 2 hours, then you feel like you're doing yourself a favor. You feel like you're doing the right thing, right? You're not bombarded with everything you got to do, or all these thoughts coming in at once, right? You're not feeling any guilt. That's what I wanted to say. You're not feeling any guilt or any regret, right? Because what happened like 2-3 years ago is something that is always going to be there. You're not going to be able to shake that feeling, to shake that burden off your chest. Even though you go to therapy, all right, cool. Well, they might give you some medication or they might give you some advice. Either way, it's still going to be there, because that therapist is not going to help you out wherever you go. You know, they're not going to tell you, oh, don't think about this, don't think about that. They can't read your mind, right? So I feel like you can do as many things to let go of that feeling, to let go of that that kind of thought that has been like eating you alive. But it's gonna take some time, honestly. You know, you can't just ignore it. Not caring can only do so much for such a period of time where you're gonna actually have to acknowledge it. So it's really just finding what works for you. Like, because honestly, what worked for me, you know, is just having people around me constantly. That's just something that has been beneficial towards me, because every time I sit in a chair, every time I look at a wall, or I look outside from my window, I just feel so much loneliness, you know? And that loneliness, sometimes it eats me, you know. I'm pretty sure it eats a lot of people, but personally, like, that's just something that I haven't really enjoyed, you know, because in the past, you know, I wouldn't mind it because, you know, I wasn't exposed to too many things, you know, where like in this world, it's really good to make connections. It's really good to make lifelong networking, right? You got to make it work somehow. But hey, if this video helps someone out there, man, just leave a like, you know, comment, subscribe, you know, do all that. Yeah, this video is all freestyle. I have no notes written down, but you know, I just really hope it actually helps somebody, you know. But more videos in the future, you know, I'm trying to do different things, seeing what sticks, seeing what doesn't stick. But this is kind of like a late night video, basically just saying that, like, you shouldn't just care about something that's out of your control. That's all I wanted to say.